Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise once again this year to voice my concern about the unsustainable path we are putting our children, our grandchildren, and the future generations on by incurring this amount of debt. In 2013, and I'm assuming it hasn't changed, New York's debt per capita was ranked 5th highest in the nation, only following the states of Connecticut, Massachusetts, Hawaii, and New Jersey. And my colleague pointed out a very good point, that we are only $1.8 billion away from reaching our debt cap. So this year, we have an estimate of $54.9 billion, which is what we're discussing here today. But our estimates on our side of the aisle actually differ a little bit from yours, and we assume that the projection for 2015-16 will increase $2.02 billion to $56.9 billion, which will put us over that cap. And the point about the Smart Schools Bond Act is very important to recognize. Here we have voter-approved debt of $2 billion to improve our schools and add technology and make investments that are desperately needed throughout our state. And we can't do it because our debt cap doesn't allow it. And the debt cap doesn't allow it because everything we're discussing here today, all but 6% was voter approved. So yes, we are borrowing, we are issuing debt for projects that the voters did not want, and now when $2 billion that the voters overwhelmingly said they want to go to smart schools to improve technology in our classroom, we can't do it. Aside from that, I want to point out that this is just really not the only thing that our state and the taxpayers are responsible for, but there is also backdoor borrowing that has occurred here with the authorities. The total, this year alone, $59 billion was issued by the public authorities. $257 billion of it is the debt that is currently outstanding by our public authorities, and that is up quite a bit from 2012. And so while we don't pay debt service for this, if those public authorities default, the taxpayers are going to be responsible for it. So we have to urge caution with our public authorities, especially one that I like to talk about a lot, which is the MTA. This very House gave the authority a couple of years ago for the MTA to increase its debt limit from $37 billion to $44 billion. They're approaching that $37 billion cap very, very closely right now. They have a $34 billion deficit. And while, again, in past discussions, there have been members that have argued, well, that's public authority debt, the state is not responsible. They are responsible. If they default, the state and the taxpayers are responsible. And not only that, they're responsible because they're going to pay for it through tolls and fares and everything we complain about here all the time. So what I'll say is that I think we have to just err on the side of caution here as we proceed in future budgets and try to live within our means well. We have to keep on top of organizations like the MTA that are issuing debts for projects they can't afford. For some reason, the MTA managed to put forth the Long Island East Side Access Project, but they underestimated it by $6 billion, and 10 years it's over schedule now. So, and we have to do more as a group to hold this agency and other agencies who take on this tremendous amount of debt for projects, do not keep to their timetable, do not keep within their limits and spending limits, and hold them more accountable, because in the end, whether it's going to be state debt or whether it's going to be debt that's issued by the public authorities, it really doesn't matter because we, the taxpayers, are on the hook for it. So I'll be voting in the negative.